This is International Master Daniel Naroditsky doing my first video for onlinechesslessons.net, and I'm very excited to be doing videos for them. And today we're going to take a look at a recent game I won in the Spice Cup 2 months ago, where I was playing Brazilian Grandmaster Andre Diamant. And I'm white in this game, and it's going to be a very, very sharp, tactical, crackerjack, creep fest, crazy game, and so I'm white, and I play 1e4, and he answers with 1c5. And this is the introduction to the Sicilian defense, an opening which has been played for more than 200 years. And people have always asked me, why do so many top players choose the Sicilian defense as black? And I've always answered that, with 1c5, black really unbalances the position, thereby giving him chances to play for a win. And that's really appealing to amateur players and top players alike. So I continue with knight f3, just developing the knight. He plays e6. So d4, opening up the center, and this is the introduction to the open Sicilian, which is the most popular retort against the Sicilian defense. He takes, I take with the knight, and already we have a very, very unbalanced and interesting position. The center has been opened. Black has traded his c-pawn for white's better d-pawn, but if you look at this d6 square, white would love to sink a knight on there, and that will be a big problem for black later on, is that the d6 square is extremely weak right now. So black develops his knight with knight c6, white answers with knight c3, and black plays queen c7, another kind of puzzling move at first. Why would black just develop his queen so early on in the game? And as we'll see later on, after white castles queenside, black's queen is going to sort of x-ray white's king, which is going to be on c1. We're going to take a look at that later on. So after bishop e3, just developing the bishop, black plays knight f6, so all natural so far, queen d2, and now black plays a6, stopping any possible knight db5 moves. So instead, black had this move bishop b4, which looks really annoying because, knight takes c4 is threatening, this pin is pretty big. But then white just plays knight db5, attacking the queen, and now the d6 square is really, the weakness of the d6 square is really pronounced. So black doesn't want to do that, instead he wants to defend the b5 square, after which I castle long. And now black continues with bishop e7, developing his bishop, and now I play this move f3. So this move has a dual idea. First of all, white's defending the e4 square, the e4 pawn, and second of all, white's preparing a huge pawn storm with g4, g5. So black pretty much unsuspectingly plays castle short, and now white plays g4. And already the positions become pretty much crazy. So white's idea is just to use the pawns as a battering ram and just play g5, attacking the knight, followed by maybe h4, h5, and black's king is starting to feel just a little bit uncomfortable. So black himself has to start attacking on the queen side, and black plays b5, and you can notice a striking similarity between white's move g4 and black's move b5 is that both sides are desperately trying to reach their opponent's king, and now wasting no time, white plays g5. And the really important thing that opening, Sicilian players have to understand is that no time can be wasted. So as white has to, as soon as he develops his pieces, he has to just go straight into the attack and not give black any time to breathe. So black moves his knight away to h5, and the common aphorism is knights on the rim are grim. And this is very true, but here black's knight on h5 is sort of a bone in white's throat. It's stopping the movement of the h-pawn. It's just sitting there, controlling that 4 square, and it really needs to be traded off. And with this in mind, I play knight c2. And white's idea is really simple. Black, again, unsuspectingly plays rook d8, with a straightforward idea of preparing the central thrust d5, and white plays knight g3. And at first sight, this might seem, wait, what is white doing? So black has two ways to accept the sacrifice. Number one is knight takes g3. Now white takes back, and black just takes his pawn, and what does white do? Well, white takes on c6, black takes back, and now white has a shocking winner, queen takes c8 check, bishop takes d8, rook takes d8, and it's mate on the back rank. So black cannot accept the sacrifice for now. He can also take on d4 first, thereby precluding white from taking on c6. Now white takes back, and now black takes, and he has this little feast of a pawn. But now white plays f4, and look at this queen right here. It's totally trapped inside white's camp. It's feeling very, very bad. And white is going to just mate black along this h-file. For example, let's say black tries even bishop b7. Now white plays bishop d3. Say black wants to, thrust in the center with d5. White chases away black's queen with rook dg1. Now black plays queen f3, and now white plays queen h2. And if you see that this pawn is hanging, black can absolutely do nothing about it. Even if he, takes this pawn, then it's just made after queen takes h7 check, and this attack just goes right through. So black cannot accept the sacrifice on g6. Instead, he takes on d4 with a knight. I take back with a bishop, and black occupies this weak square f4, and this knight on f4 will play a big part later on in the game. I play h4, defending my pawn on g5, and black plays this very interesting move e5. So what could be the point of this move, because now the d5 square is weakened. So if I would have, say, unsuspectingly played bishop e3, then black has a central thrust d5, ripping open the center, and white's pieces are suddenly unprepared to meet that opening in the center. If he takes, black takes back, and look at black's position. This knight on d5 is dominating the game. White's king is getting x-rayed by black's queen. White's pawns are going absolutely nowhere, and so white cannot allow that. And instead of just retreating, I try for a counter thrust, knight f5, attacking black's bishop on e7. So if black gobbles up this bishop, I take back with check. Black has to move his king away. Now knight d5, forcing black to take on d5, or else the knight on f4 is hanging, e takes d5, and then this pawn is starting to feel just a little uncomfortable. It cannot be defended, and white just takes and he has an extra pawn. So black cannot take back. He has to retreat with his bishop. He decides to go for bishop c5. Takes, and again, remember that threat of d5? Well, again d5 is threatening, and so white places a knight on d6, totally just paralyzing black's piece. Look at this. Look at these two rooks, the bishop. They're not going anywhere. And white's sole knight is just totally dominating the game, blocking away all of black's kingside and the queenside. It's exerting pressure on black's king. It's just ingrained on d6, and it's a huge piece, and this is the decisive factor. So try to think of an army where one side has just totally lost communication with the other side. So now white's hands are totally untied to just crush black on the king side, and black trying to unwind somehow rook ba, getting his rook to b6. But this is really good for white. h5, just pouncing on the opportunity. Black continues to try and unwind rook b6, maybe sacrifice on d6. And now black is still sort of holding on to dear life. He's, in Franklin Roosevelt's word, he's tied up a knot on the rope and he's holding on. But now white activates his last reserve with rook h4. And again, this move seems slightly puzzling, so black just develops his bishop b7. But now comes the real powerful move, rook takes f4. So what's really important, especially when you're playing a strong player or you're not sure how to continue the attack, you have to really activate your last reserves and just go for your opponent's throat. So rook takes f4, black has to take back on f4, queen takes f4. And white's technically, a half a pawn down. He's in exchange for a pawn down. But if you notice this pawn in f7, it's hanging, so black has two ways to defend it. If he goes rook f8, white goes h6, and look at black's king. It's just dead. Black is just dead here. And I don't mean, okay, he can defend. He's dead. So knight on d6 is just blocking away this rook and queen. Black's king is just finished. So if, say, g6, queen f6, and this is mate. So black has to sacrifice a pawn. He has to sacrifice back the exchange with rook takes d6. Otherwise, this knight just kills him. Now rook takes back on d6. Rook c8, rook d2, defending against mate, and white's up a pawn, and he still has a very strong attack on the king side. So black desperately trying d5, desperately trying to somehow open the king side and the queen side and the center, but this just doesn't work out for him because e5, queen g1, trying to get some activity. Just rook calmly back to d1, defending the bishop. Queen f2, threatening mate again. Bishop comes out to d3, defending the c2 pawn. Now black tries for d4, opening up his bishop. But unfortunately it's too late, because now g6. And again, look at black's king. Nothing is defending it. White's just bursting open the last defenses, using the pawns as a battering ram. Black takes back, white takes, and now f7 square is really weak. Black, tries desperately. Bishop takes f3, maybe somehow trying to go for counterplay. And now white could have, unsuspectingly and sloppily played rook f1, and this move looks winning because, it pins the queen and the bishop. But now black has a shocking, astonishing move. Rook takes c2 check. And, it's suddenly, the tables are totally turned. So if white takes back, queen takes f1 check, and look at how black has distracted white's bishop from defending f1. Now king d2, queen e2 check, forcing king c1, queen e1 check, and it's mate. Bishop takes c1 takes. So you always have to remain careful against strong players because they will try for the last trap. So instead, queen f5 was played. And the point of this sort of mysterious move is that if the rook stays on the c-file, white just takes on h7, and this is mate. If black retreats on b8, thereby, keeping the defense of his back rank, white plays rook f1, and suddenly it becomes clear that rook takes c2 check isn't possible anymore because the rook's left the c-file. So this kind of nice idea, and then black moves away, queen e3 check, or else he just loses his bishop, king b1, and now he resigned. And again, this might seem puzzling, why didn't he just retreat on d5? But here comes another final, just crusher, queen f8 check, and bye-bye little king. So rook takes f8, rook takes f8, bishop g8, and it's just mate here. So what happened in this game was that early on the Sicilian defense was played, and that led, after both sides have developed their pieces, to a sharp, double flank attack. Black was attacking on the queen side, white on the king side. But white's attack came first. He had the first strike with g5, forcing black's knight away. Then he played knight c2, rook d8, trading off this bone in the throat. Knight takes d4, bishop takes d4. Black trying to somehow, play knight f4, hold his position up. But then the real clincher was knight f5. Not retreating the bishop, but instead counterattacking black's bishop and ingraining this powerful knight on d6, which just totally paralyzed black's pieces. Then another really important move was the sacrifice of exchange on f4, trading off black's last strong piece, attacking f7. Black had to sacrifice the exchange back, and white, he's up a pawn right here, and his attack is still there. g6, just ripping apart black's last defenses. Queen f5, another accurate move, not falling for rook f1, rook takes c2 check, black retreats, and this game is over. So, this was my first video for chesslessons.net, and I'm very excited to be doing videos for them. I hope you enjoyed listening to this game. Thank you very much, and see you at my next video. Thank you.